Hello, and today in this video we're going to talk about the importance of backups and what they can do for your school, and more importantly the air gap solution that we at Virtue have developed specifically to meet the needs of our schools. I'm Will Stead, I'm from Virtue Technologies, and with me today is Ian Morris, who architected the backup solutions that we have.
I did.
So first of all, Ian, quick question. Why do schools actually need backup solutions?
Well, schools need backups for the very reason that they've got vast amounts of data from one end of the school to another. It could be admin-based data, user data, through to exams, kids data, stuff like that. You'll have user identifiable data and everything in between. So they've got to keep that data safe, they've got to keep that secure, and they've got to keep it in a position where should any of it go missing or be deleted for whatever reason, it's recoverable.
I guess at the same time, we've got that increased risk these days, not only from fire and flood, but from cyber. Is a big issue.
Yes, of course, yeah. There's always that, yeah. So there's the physical elements of things going wrong, acts of God, if you like, or fire, flood, famine, and then you've got cyber.
Yeah.
Where they'll obviously we know they infiltrate your systems, and the first thing they'll do is find your backups, wipe those out, and then they'll press a button and it's panic mode after that, isn't it?
Yeah. So increasingly, schools are being asked to have air-gapped or offline backups. Yeah. That's now a requirement of the RPA and the DFE. So what does that mean? What's an air-gapped or an offline backup really actually mean?
Yeah, so air-gapped is where the two systems aren't constantly in contact with each other. Mm-hmm. Two networks, two separate segments, if you like, that can interface for a period of time and then disconnect. Yeah. And that's kind of what the air-gapped means. Offline is similar in that you're not constantly connected to it, and when you're not using that data, it is kind of taken away, so it's not available. That's what makes it offline.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got a solution for that. Our air-gapped backup solution in the cloud. Why is that different from what other people are doing?
So I guess if you were to go and buy some blob storage or some storage from AWS or another cloud provider, storage provider, they just provide you with a repository and you can put whatever data you want on there. It could be your backup data, it could be your live data. But in this instance, we're discussing backups. So you put your backup data on there. Someone infiltrates your system, they damage your backups in whatever way they can, whether it's corruption or totally wiping them out. And then you come to recover from your backups after you've been had the ransomware note, you've got no backups. Yeah. You've got nowhere to go. You can't phone Amazon up or a big storage provider to say, my backups have gone, what do we do?
Yeah.
They've just provided you with storage.
So our backups are totally offline?
Yes, so from our point of view, we call it air-gapped backup, but actually, if we want to get technically about it, it's double air-gapped, double offline backups. It's a bit, do we want to say overkill? It's as good as it's going to get, essentially, from any online provider. What we'll do is we present you with, say as a customer you purchase 10 terabytes of storage from us, for example. You would send us that data through Veeam or whichever software you've got in the same way you would to another storage provider. What makes us different is that we will offline replicate those backups into another data center, and we'll keep that for a very long period of time. I won't disclose that period of time, just in case that kind of allows a compromise somewhere. But essentially, we will take, if you're sending us a week's worth, 7 days retention, for example, we will take that 7 days every day and copy it into a totally different storage system in another area, another data center. Yeah, and that is offline. So that's almost like it's almost like what you'd call ice storage.
Right. Okay.
Where it's kind of brought on, it's made available for the data to come over, and then it kind of disappears into the the unknown, if you like. So it's totally impervious. You can't find it from, if someone's attacking one of our customers, they may find their initial repository with us, and they can try and do something to that. So we've got a number of protections in place on that, but they've got absolutely no way of getting to this other part, because that's all done in the data center at the storage level, not at the software level. So it's just invisible and not seen.
Yeah. We also talk about DR, disaster recovery. There's a disaster recovery element to this, or an option on this. What's that? What does that do?
So because once your data's with us, you're not a million miles away from being able to create a virtual machine based on your data and to spin that back up in our data center. Because we've, a lot of our customers are either Hyper-V or VMware.
Yeah.
We are predominantly VMware, but we can provide Hyper-V if we need to. And we can, with using our Veeam Cloud Connect infrastructure, kind of connect to your data that you've already sent us and spin that up in our data center as a machine, like as of the date that you sent it to us. And then we use worst case, we use an IPsec tunnel or something to connect that back to the customer as though it's running live on their site. So really simply, in the event of everything going wrong at a school, let's say it's a fire, keep it simple, and they lose all their data, we could present back to them virtual computers with their data within a small number of hours. Exactly. Yeah. I think the SLA is something like 4 hours, isn't it? Something like that. Where we'll basically, if we'll get your systems back up and running from our data center.
Yeah. And obviously these days, whilst customers giving us data for us to look after, a lot of people get quite concerned about where are we storing it, how we're storing it, is it encrypted? So where is this data? How is it protected?
Yeah, the data's in Manchester across 2 different data centers. We've got the primary data center where you send the data to us, and we've got a secondary data center where we kind of take that away. Well, we keep it there, but we take a copy and we take it over there. As I say, we do that every night, and we keep those copies over there so we can roll back. It's encrypted at rest, and it's encrypted at transit as well.
And those data centers, they're just to be clear, they're not our data centers, are they? They're part of a large...
Yeah, they're not a data center that we've built, if you like. They're a very well-known multinational company with all the bells and whistles.
Yeah. So they've got ISO standards for security, for environmental control, and all sorts.
You couldn't even, if you turned up there today with me, they wouldn't let you in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I think anecdotally, there's a story about you going to the data center once and didn't forget to take your passport.
Yes, I forgot to take my ID. There's the security guy, he knows me. I've been there enough times. He knows me. He knows my name. He knows, we talk. We get on. I turned up, and just because I didn't have it was the dead of night. There was an issue. I turned up to deal with the issue. Rushed out of the house. Didn't take my passport with me or my driving license, and they couldn't let me in. They wouldn't let me in, even though we knew it was me. It was clearly not someone with a mask on. Why would anybody have a mask on looking like me? Yeah. He wouldn't let me in.
It's that secure.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Right.
I can't. To get a guest in, there's a magnitude of forms to fill in and photographs to take and all kinds of stuff to get to. You could probably walk into a military base easier than you could get into one of these.
Cool. That's great, Ian. Thanks for your time talking about backups. Really appreciate the time you've given us. And have a good afternoon.
Thank you.